Welcome into the show. This is the San Francisco 49ers Report. Chase Senior here with you. And as always, win or lose, no matter where you are or how you're tuned in, thank you so much for making our post-game reaction show a part of your evening. The 49ers fall to 4-2 here in the 2025 season with a 30-19 road loss against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. There's a lot to talk about in this game. And real quick, we can go through some of the individual numbers here. Mac Jones, 27-39. 347 yards, no touchdowns, 2 picks. A lot of Niner fans blaming him for this Niners defeat. He should not be the person who you are blaming. This Niners offensive line is horrible. Mac Jones was a dead sitting duck back there. He had no chance and still threw for 350 yards. Once again, the 49ers unable to run the football. Why? Same reason that I made for point number 1. The interior offensive line for the Niners of Connor Colby at left guard, Jake Brendel at center, Dominic Puni at right guard might be the worst interior offensive line in the National Football League. Mac Jones sacked 6 times today, hit a whole bunch, on the ground a lot, and it was unfair for him because John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan continue to ignore and neglect the offensive line. Chase, what's the answer? They have none because it's all about personnel along the interior. Kendrick Bourne, another great game, especially in that first half. 5 catches, $142. Baker Mayfield's playing at an MVP level. I talked about that all throughout the week. He was phenomenal in this game. It's not just what he does within the pocket. It's his ability to create plays out of structure and improvise. The play of the game, when he escaped the Trevis Gibson, Bryce Huff sack, split 2 more defenders, broke a tackle, picked up a first down, changed the momentum of the game, and then what happened? A touchdown a few plays later. When you have Baker Mayfield dead to rights, got to make that play. He burned San Francisco, and that was really the ball game. I said it live. Rachaad White, 17 carries, 65 yards. The Niners, not good in stopping the run. And Cameron Johnson, 4 catches for 64. He had a long touchdown, uncovered, coverage breakdown, and then Tej Johnson got past the defense for another explosive play, which I believe came right after that Baker Mayfield scramble. So we're going to talk about a lot here during our post-game reaction show, but obviously the breaking news for San Francisco and the news that is heartbreaking, the news that is tough to fathom, the news that in a weird way almost made me choked up, and I don't really react in that way because I know what the reality of football is. The National Football League also stands for not for long, and any play can be a player's last, and any player can be lost on any given play because of an injury, but it's the injury to Fred Warner. Early in this game, Fred Warner, friendly fire, upended by Jair Brown. He came down on Warner's ankle. Warner dislocated it right away. Niners players signaling for the medical staff to come onto the field. Kyle Shanahan even came onto the field because he knew it was serious. All Niners players and some Buccaneers players dropped to a knee. Fred Warner immediately carted off. They put an air cast on that ankle right away. He was taken to the hospital. And by the image of it, you knew right away it was serious. It was severe because it was gruesome. One of those plays where you get upended, a player falls into your ankle, moving full speed. Jair Brown is a big dude, over 200 pounds. Warner's body went the wrong way, and you saw that his ankle went the wrong direction, and it was pointing in a direction it shouldn't have been. And this has so many ramifications. First in this game, after the Fred Warner injury, the Buccaneers average about 7.5 yards per play. Can't play defensive football that way. The only games that have been that bad under Kyle Shanahan, when they lost to the Chiefs Week 7 of 2022, to the Raiders in Week 17 of 2022, against the Vikings last year in 2024, and against the Packers in Week 6 of 2018 when the Niners were still a rebuilding team. And you could just tell right away that this Niners defense was impacted severely without Fred Warner. What he gives this defense is paramount. It's pre-snap, it's post-snap, it's during the play, it's leadership, it's getting guys lined up. It's holding players accountable on the sideline. Fred Warner is one of the greatest individuals and people that you will talk to and cover at the NFL level. Had an opportunity to talk to him. The way that he commands a room is really special. He's the leader of this Niners defense. He's the heart and soul of this Niners defense. He's the captain of this Niners defense. When Robert Saleh calls plays, he's in the headset talking to Fred Warner. He directs traffic. He impacts the run game. He impacts the pass game. When he's utilized as a blitzer and as a pass rusher, he gets home. He can knock passes down. He can cover wide receivers. He can cover tight ends. He can cover running backs. To lose Nick Bosa is a dagger. To lose Fred Warner, it's the ultimate kick in the balls. It's hard to survive without Nick Bosa, and we've seen how this Niners pass rush hasn't been able to get after the quarterback in now the 3 full games without Bosa. And going into this year, you looked at this Niners team and you said, at least I did, they can compete. They could be a factor in the NFC. They could be a playoff team. I said all those things. But they can't afford to have injuries to a few specific players. Fred Warner being one of them, probably the most irreplaceable player that they have. Nick Bosa being another, one of the top defensive players in the game alongside Fred Warner. Now you're without 2 of the best overall players in the NFL. Can't lose Christian McCaffrey, can't lose Trent Williams. You've lost 2 of those players already. And I just don't know how you can survive long-term without both Nick Bosa and Fred Warner. And how does this alter the Niners' plans going into the trade deadline? Even if you lose this game, you're at 4-2. You're like, okay, we lost on the road to a really good team. Todd Bowles in the running alongside Kyle Shanahan for Coach of the Year. Baker Mayfield is playing at an MVP level. What he's doing with all of the injuries to his wide receivers, no Mike Evans, no Chris Godwin, Emeka Egbuka, hamstring injury, is incredible. But if you still had Fred Warner despite a loss, you're like, okay, we can make a move for a pass rusher, and this defense can still really produce at a high level because they've been producing at a high level in a lot of key areas even without Nick Bosa, but they can't get after the quarterback. But now you lose Nick Bosa and Fred Warner. Do you punt the rest of the way? Do you not make a bold move at the deadline? Because now you're without not just 1, but 2. If there is any good news with the Fred Warner injury, it's that it's a dislocated ankle, according to Diana Rossini. Now, I say that's good news because you can come back, perhaps, maybe, if everything goes right, 6 to 8 weeks is the potential timeline there. Whereas, if you dislocate your ankle and there is also ligament, tendon, and other tears in there, then that's a whole ankle reconstruction and the recovery long term. You'd be out for the rest of the year if that's the case. So if it's just a dislocated ankle, they can pop that into place. They can immobilize it. And maybe Fred Warner can come back at some point this season. If there's other damage in there, tendons, ligaments, nerves, then that's a long-term injury for Fred Warner. But it's going to be a broken ankle and it's going to be a dislocation. Right ankle for Fred Warner, which unfortunate for him because last year he was playing at a Defensive Player of the Year level. He had that fracture in his ankle, played the rest of the games. Wasn't the same guy, but still played really well. This year, once again playing at a Defensive Player of the Year caliber level, dislocates his ankle. Now, I still think he's on track to be a Hall of Famer, but the spirit that he gives this Niners defense, the effort, the contagious energy, the positivity, the overall play, that's what makes a lot of Niners fans choked up. He's one of my favorite players of all time. And he has been an Iron Man throughout his entire career. 2018 third-round pick out of BYU. Since then, he has missed 1 game in his career. and now he suffers this injury, and he's going to be out for a long time. And you want to talk about injury misfortune for San Francisco, my goodness. This offseason, they signed Brock Purdy to a contract extension, George Kittle to a contract extension, Fred Warner to a contract extension. All out. All hurt. All have missed or are going to miss multiple weeks. Somebody needs to exorcise the demons at the facility in Santa Clara. Somebody needs to walk around with sage at the SAP Performance Facility and at Levi's Stadium. I'll do it myself. I will walk there myself if the Niners give me the opportunity. Because this injury bad luck is something that I've never seen before. The Niners legitimately have the worst injury misfortune of any team in professional sports right now. Kyle Shanahan saying it's a dislocated and broken ankle. Significant, likely season ending with surgery coming. Massive, massive loss for San Francisco. And a lot of reports coming in that Fred Warner is now done for the rest of the year. So forget what I said about maybe being able to come back if it's dislocated. It's a broken ankle for Fred Warner, surgery, and from Kyle Shanahan, out for the season. You can maybe keep your head above water without Nick Bosa. Not sure how you do it without Fred Warner. He's that valuable. He's that special. He's that good. He's that elite. Hard to take, hard to swallow, hard to fathom. For a great guy, great player, who means so much to Niner fans, who invest so much into this team, Niner fans who invest so much emotional energy into this team, and obviously it means so much for this Niners defense. Nick Martin is going to have to be active for the first time this year against Atlanta. Tatum Bethune going to get some more snaps. D. Winters has to play better. We're seeing Luke Gifford out there. He should be a special teamer. He's going to get some snaps. You might be able to make a move for a pass rusher, and that helps you a little bit at that second level. But the loss of Fred Warner is going to be felt soundly for this Niners team. Brutal. I have some game takeaways that we can get to coming up here in a moment, but we do have to pay our bills. Today's San Francisco 49ers report, sponsored by Omaha Steaks. What a deal they have for the faithful. Save big with Omaha Steaks. If you go to omahasteaks.com, you get 50% off site-wide. You get an extra 20% off select favorites during their early Black Friday sale. And for an extra $35 off, use the promo code 49ers at checkout. Terms apply. See site for details. That's 50% off at omahasteaks.com. Promo code 49ers at checkout. Therefore, they know we sent you. Omaha Steaks offers unrivaled quality and variety. Every bite is backed by their 100% guarantee. The early Black Friday sale is the perfect time to shop for the best deals. Plus, orders placed by 6 p.m. Eastern ship out the same day. Grass-fed, grain-finished beef has more marbling for exceptional flavor and is the choice of steakhouses and professional chefs all around the world. Omaha Steaks offers an exclusive lineup of USDA certified tender steaks, and their fan favorite, filet mignons, that's my favorite, have achieved the distinction of USDA certified very tender. Omaha Steaks, America's original butcher since 1917, family-owned company with over 100 years of expertise in the meat industry. They also carry mouth-watering burgers, chicken, pork, seafood, and delectable desserts. Again, omahasteaks.com, 50% off site-wide, extra 20% off, select favorites. For an extra $35 off, use that code 49ers. As for some takeaways from this game, a lot of people will say that Mac Jones, because he threw a couple of picks, is the reason why the Niners lost. If you say that, you just have to be better and you have to be smarter as a fan. Because as I always like to say, context very important. Did Mac Jones throw 2 picks? Yes, he did. Was one on him? Yes, it was. Was the other on Kendrick Bourne and a miscommunication between him and Mac? Yes, it was. Did both of those giveaways result in points for Tampa Bay? Yes, they did. But Mac Jones did not have a chance in this game behind that offensive line. And this is where Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch deserve blame, deserve criticism. And if people are shooting arrows toward them because of the offensive line play, it's deserved. Since 2021, that's when I took over as the host of this show, I've been saying the 49ers need to improve the offensive line. The Niners need to upgrade the offensive line. The Niners need to prioritize the offensive line. And in big game after big game, and big spot after big spot, and now routinely in regular season games, this offensive line kills them. And this year, it's all boiled over. The Niners cannot run the football. Anytime Christian McCaffrey gets a carry, he's stopped in the backfield for a loss. He has no chance. The yards before contact, minimal, if any. And now, in the deep drop back pass game, Mac Jones in a game like this one had no chance. Sacked 6 times, hit a bunch, pressured a lot, on the ground a ton. And you think over time that makes a quarterback a little bit gun shy? Yes, it does. And you can only throw short, quick passes so often. You need to develop some plays downfield. Now, the Niners did a lot of that in that first half. 54-yarder to Kendrick Bourne, a 40-plus yarder to Kendrick Bourne. But as the game wore on, the Buccaneers adjusted, took away some of those long passes. The Niners couldn't really beat man. And because of that, Mac Jones was getting annihilated back there. The interior of this Niners offensive line, Connor Colby left guard, Jake Brendel center, Dominic Puni right guard, with the way that they are currently playing right now, one of the worst interior offensive lines in football. And the bad news is you can't improve it. Why? You don't have the personnel. You want the Niners to make a trade going into the deadline? There are no good offensive linemen available. You can maybe trade for a pass rusher. You can maybe trade for a linebacker. You don't see offensive linemen dealt. Because the good ones are on teams, they're playing, and they're so valuable. Why? Because they protect the quarterback and they help you run the ball. So the Niners' pass protection can't hold up long term, and they can't run the ball. That's really a long-term problem for this Niners offense. And it really shows up when the down and distance on third downs is long. And in the red zone. They're a one-dimensional team in the red zone. Christian McCaffrey had a rushing touchdown today. 6 games into the year, the Niners have 1 rushing touchdown as a team because they can't run block. They get bullied. They get throttled. They get pushed around along the interior. Jake Brendel is one of the worst starting centers in football. Connor Colby shouldn't be starting. Ben Barch will come back and replace him, but he's not that good, and he can never stay healthy. And what's crazy, Dominic Puni was awesome as a rookie. Dominic Puni was one of the best offensive linemen drafted in 2024. The regression year over year has been wild to witness. He killed the Niners today. In the first half, he was on the ground more, seemingly, than the Niners had first downs. Vita Vea punished him. Vita Vea dominated him. Vita Vea took his lunch. Dominic Puni knew it too. Very frustrated by himself. And then late in the game, when you're down by 8, you've got an opportunity in good field position to tie the game with the touchdown and 2-point conversion. It's 4th and 1. You convert there, you have good field position. The clock is on your side. You've shown the ability to move it when you can protect. Dominic Puni false start. Has nothing to do with ability. That comes down to the mental wherewithal. So this is a player who's playing poorly. He's pressing mentally. And he is just killing the Niners right now. Can't run behind him. And he can't hold up in pass pro. And then 4th and 1. Penalty. Backs you up into a 4th and long. And then you can't convert. And you're screwed. So, look, this Niners team is 4-2. Kyle Shanahan, Robert Saleh coaching their asses off this year. Reinforcements are coming on offense. George Kittle, Brandon Ayuk, maybe Ben Barch. But the offensive line play, I don't think is going to change. So your inability to throw the ball or run the ball is still going to be there. Now, Brock Purdy coming back can help you a little bit with this bad offensive line, and that's another reinforcement, obviously. Your franchise quarterback coming back. He's going to be able to create plays out of structure and bail out what has been a bad offensive line. But from a pocket throwing, pocket passing standpoint, I think Mac Jones is better right now than Brock Purdy. So you lose a little bit of that, but you gain some mobility, and you gain the opportunity and the ability to make plays improvisationally behind a bad offensive line to bail that horrendous unit out. So, look, you think about this Niners team, and you've seen the growth of these young players. Mykel Williams had his first sack today. Upton Stout had some good plays. Alfred Collins, C.J. West making some plays along the interior. Marquise Siegel got cooked for another touchdown. Safety play is also an issue with this team. Jair Brown got the start today alongside Marquise Siegel. Malik Mustafa played a little bit, but Jair Brown missed tackles. Marquise Siegel cooked in coverage, gave up a long touchdown. Malik Mustafa blown coverage, was late to get to the sideline. Another explosive play. So safety is a problem too. Long term, you just have concerns about this football team. Can't get after the quarterback. Can't stop the run. Now you're without Nick Bosa, Fred Warner. You can't run the ball, and you can't pass protect. So these injuries have killed the Niners. Pass protection, running the ball, getting after the quarterback. All those issues are issues. Just worry about this team long term. It's not to say I don't believe in them, because with quality coaching, you're in all of these games. But at some point, it's going to be hard to last with that many weaknesses. You have an easy schedule, which can help you. Easier. And by no means is this a bad loss. Buccaneers are a really good team. But you lose the best player on your team, and you have all these holes. And these holes, I just don't see how they're going to get much better. You could trade for a pass rusher. That can help you a little bit. But the offensive line, that's going to be an issue for the rest of the year. Brock Purdy can help out a little bit, but then you're not as good throwing from the pocket as you are with Mac Jones. So, unfortunate happenings today for San Francisco. Prayers up for Fred Warner, man. Prayers up. One of my favorite players of all time. Niner fans feel that way too. Just absolutely gutted for him, and it's brutal. Type those 54s in the chat.